Welcome back. Today we are back on to low carbohydrates, so 100 grams carbs per day. Feeling okay considering the food, just not really thinking about it, just get on with it I guess. We are going back to Crawley Kings today. I have a push session which I'm really excited about. I haven't trained push at Kings yet, and Louis got legs, so yeah, good session, and travel time is minimal, which on prep for me is just nice. I don't like having to travel really anywhere. I'm going to take you guys through my push session. I'll see you guys at the gym. So welcome to a little bit of a voiceover of the push session, starting off with a Y raise, just to get some blood into the rear delts and the delts, keeping my chest on the pad and thinking about raising the elbows up. Shoulder press, really nice machine. I enjoyed this one. On my top set, you'll see it here, I do actually use D handles just to get the weight up on the first rep, because I trained on my own this day. Otherwise I'd have someone lift them up, and I don't actually count that rep because I didn't do it all myself. But yeah, just wedging the D handles under here, and then just lifting off, keeping these nice and slow, nice and controlled. I'm really just focusing on contracting really nice and hard at the top of the rep, and sticking with the ones that get hard, because it's very easy to just kind of like rush through. My volume for push is so low at the moment. It's obviously just been taken down a little bit just for recovery purposes. My push session is taking like an hour and 20 minutes right now, which for me is a very short session. And we're going to move on to a machine lateral, focusing on my elbows going outwards rather than up, and just keeping these again really slow, kind of stopping any momentum being used there. And I rest them just on the outside of my wrists, and I find that's the most comfortable for me. Then we moved on to an incline press, very similar to the shoulder press in terms of kind of being slow and controlled, and thinking of bringing my elbows together rather than kind of pushing upwards, if that makes sense. And then when these get hard, just not throwing them away and just focusing on my breathing, focusing on a big strong exhale as I push up. And the rep that I fail here, I control the eccentric to make sure I get everything out of it.
This is the segment where I have to wait for Ali to go to the toilet for like the 50th time. Mad.
Being around this type of training, it's extremely motivating, and I'm very grateful to be around someone that trains like this, especially on prep. It's good to see. It's the kind of energy that you want to be around. But yeah, this was Louis' top set. Very good, very good. And then he went on to do some kind of leg extensions with intensifiers. So I think this was the drop set that he did. You can just see how much he's controlling that weight. He's not rushing it when he gets to the top. He's not, rushing through the set. And I'm there just to kind of count him, and just there to kind of spot him. But you can see how much kind of intensity he's driving into these sets. It's not just the hack squats and the squats and the hard stuff that he's putting the intensity into. Is everything, and that's how you grow an impressive physique. But yeah, I look tiny as always. And then we moved on to a tricep dip. I'm not really that. I'm not a massive fan of this machine. I actually swapped this around for an assisted dip, which I much preferred. But with this, I'm doing a 3-second eccentric, really loading the tricep, allowing all the tension to kind of build up through there, and then pushing down. I'm trying to keep my chest high, because if I lean forward too much, it just turns into some kind of like chest pressy movement and a lot of front delt. I was then here just helping Louis with his hamstring curls. He did some more intensifiers on this, so as you'll see, I start kind of pulling the weight in the opposite direction, just adding some more tension to them on these reps here. So he has to kind of fight against my weight being pushed down. This was also a lovely bit of tricep work for me because it was so heavy, but yeah. And then all I do as a tricep isolation is one set, which is a switchback set of a single arm tricep extension, getting that tricep as short as possible, and just focusing on the contraction. Louis then did some sissy squats here, taking these to a full depth after he rotated these between, I think it was a leg extension. So just wrapping up my push session, finishing off with a little bit of abs. I don't actually do anything crazy for abs. I train them on a push day and that's it, 3 sets of 10 to 12. But I will say I've just learned to contract them hard, contract them well, and there's no need for me to do 1,000 different ab exercises. It's very simple. So yeah, last one and we're done. Good morning. It is currently Friday the 16th of July. I've just jumped off the bike, as you can probably tell, and I just thought I'd give you a bit of an update on things. My last check-in, my cardio got upped, so now I'm going in for a second cardio session between meals 4 and 5 on every day, except for a leg day, and I'm just doing some intervals. So it's a total of 20 minutes on the Stairmaster. I'm just going with that. Try and keep that nice and consistent, and since doing those intervals, I have noticed, like the last kind of 5 days, probably since the last time I spoke with you, that my energy is just a bit bleh. I'm hungry now, not like to the point where it's crazy, but before I was just draggy and not really hungry, but now the hunger's kind of kicked in, which is quite cool. I've seen quite a lot of different changes with my physique. My legs have started to come in a little bit. My upper body is pretty lean. I don't really, I'm trying to remember what I was like in 2019, but it's really not holding a lot of fat now. So yeah, I'm feeling it a bit, but it's the exciting bit now. Good morning. Saturday, it's a high day, and I thought I would just go through a little supplement order that I have just received. Knife. Oh my gosh. Ow. Ah! I'm not very good at this. I end up having to order quite frequently because I always forget things. We have a new shaker. These look very nice. A nice black shaker from STROM. So just a bit of a top up today, really. Sport Max Neuro PM in mango, which I really like. I'm not a fan of the blueberry, I will be honest. I am a mango girl through and through. The trusty Essential Max. Finally, well, this was quite a boring order from me. Sorry. Some Crea Max, because I have this every day, so this runs out pretty quick. I actually realised as soon as this came through the door that I was just about to run out of Digest Max. So Rick, sorry, I'll be messaging you again because I need more bits and pieces. But as always, guys, if you do want anything at all from STROM, then you can use my code LANTOS for free shipping, and the link to that one is in the bio as well. So I just thought I'd give a bit of a rundown on something that I've been asked about quite a lot. And I actually mean this when I say on my recent question boxes and things like that. it's the one question that keeps coming up. What it is what have I learned and what is different from 2019 prep in comparison to this one. So I kind of wanted to break this down into 3 main points. Now, the first one is training. The way in which I train now and I train throughout my off season, it's just quite different. I'm now more at the point where training age is obviously increased. It's more, I'm now a lot more aware of what works well for me, what doesn't, and what my limits are in terms of training. You know, how much can I push myself? Now, what we've also done is we've kept my programming and the intensity and the movements, we've kept the hard stuff in. We haven't switched anything out. Not that we did that in 2019. In 2019, my volume was a lot higher because I was newer to training. Although I liked to train hard, I definitely couldn't train like I do train now. And that's not to say that I'm always the hardest worker in the room, but I always fucking try to be. What we've done that's the major kind of difference is taking training volume down, and we've pretty much run that through the entirety of my off season. Now, we haven't really increased that volume at all and pulled back until about 9 weeks out, where Vicky basically decided that we were gonna take a set off of my big compound, so my presses, my deadlifts, any kind of squatting movements. This was more so to just allow me to recover a bit more. I was just feeling fucked. I was having these exertion headaches all the time, and you know, this is bearing in mind that I'm adequately hydrated. Everything else is on point. It always is. And when you're not actually able to recover from your sessions, then at that point, you know, we had to reconsider a few things. But apart from reducing that training volume, and it literally has been taken 1 set off, nothing has really changed in prep. We are still training hard because that's how I grew the muscle that I have grown this year. You know, I'm not just gonna start training like 4 sets of 20 on everything just because I'm in prep. The effort that goes into my sessions has not changed, and we only altered this volume when we got to 9 weeks out. So we did a good like 10-12 weeks of like completely full volume, you know, nothing had changed. And it was only when I was telling Vicky, you know, look, I'm struggling. So in terms of training, that is basically what's changed since 2019. 2019 didn't really know how to tap in, didn't really know how to get myself into that space. I enjoyed training hard, but you know, was that training as effective? I think I'm far more effective now, and the more I train, the more I continue to, you know, learn how my body works, learn how much I can push myself, and you know, my accuracy is just so much better now. And I don't waste time and energy doing countless warm-up sets, because that's something I used to do because I just had this anxiety and I would always kind of put off doing my top set, whereas now I'm like, okay, take your warm-ups and fucking get on with it, you know? So second thing I wanted to talk about was my nutrition. This is the biggest thing that's changed since 2019. Food focus that I'm experiencing this year is minimal. Reason for this is I'm not surrounding myself, especially with social media, with food pages, with pictures, with videos of like 10,000 calorie challenges. I'm not exposing myself to that. If I'm not exposing myself to it, I'm not thinking about it. And the second thing that is drastically different, my approach to actual food intake. Now, it's the same approach that me and Vicky did in 2019. However, this time I'm being much more consistent with my intake. I have a meal plan that I created myself from my macros. I do not deviate from that meal plan in terms of switching to completely novel kind of food sources. So when I have a high carb day, I just have more of the same carbohydrates. I don't start adding in like crazy things here and there. And that is something that I did do in 2019. Like, I'd always be trying to fit things into my macros. Nothing like crazy. Like, actually, no, I did fit a halo top in. when I was like 2 weeks out. Probably shouldn't have done that. Probably should not have done that. But at the time, I didn't really know any better. I didn't know the detriment that it may have had to my performance. Now, when I say detriment, I don't mean, oh my God, it would have made me fail a lift. But what I do mean is my performance could have been better if I'd have had X, Y, and Z instead. So this year, I'm just increasing quantities of the food that I am eating, keeping my carbohydrates to rice-based carbohydrates, so cereal, cream of rice, rice cakes, or potato. Apart from that, and fruit, I don't have any other carbohydrates in my diet right now. And this is because those carbs work really well for me. They sit nicely, they don't distend my stomach too much, they digest really well, and leave me feeling really satisfied. So that's the main difference. I am sticking to my meal plan and not taking the piss with the Fit 50 macros. The third and final kind of topic that I wanted to talk about was my mindset and all things kind of attitude, environment, and all these other things that are kind of the fluffy stuff, but actually really make a difference to a prep. Now, the one thing that I think is majorly different, I'm not focused on show day. I am focused on every single day, taking one day at a time, because it sounds so cheesy, but today is the only day that matters, you know? It doesn't matter what's going on tomorrow. If you haven't completed everything you need to complete for today, whether that be rest, whether that be training, whether that be meal prep, there's no point worrying about tomorrow. Keeping a very present sort of mindset, focusing on the tasks that you have at hand, rather than worrying about, oh, but I don't look stage lean yet. You're not going to look stage lean if you're 6, 8, 10 weeks out. And don't get caught up in other people's preps. I generally think I'm just enjoying the process far more this year. On those days where I feel tired and I feel draggy, I'm trying to be very present and acknowledge the fact that I'm feeling that way, and that's okay. Like, and not having these thoughts where you're like, oh, I just want it to be a high carb day, like I can't wait for this. No, be present. And I think that's made this prep so much more enjoyable, because yeah, there have been days already where I've been like, okay, I'm dragging my ass here, but we know that that's when you're going to be coming in tighter, that's when you're going to be having a big drop. So it's just enjoying the process, like whether that is a good day or a bad day. The third kind of thing when it comes to mindset that I think is very different for me is managing stress. Now, obviously my living situation is very different. I moved out, I moved out last year, some things happened and went home. Now I'm back, now I've moved out, version 2. I'm very much doing what I want when I want, and feel a lot more organized, a lot more relaxed. Doing a prep and being able to be on your own, organize yourself, do what you want when you want is really important for me. I love being on my own. Obviously I spend a lot of time with Louis and at Louis's house, but there are days where I take myself off and I go and do my work, or I just go and be on my own. And I think that's really important, that you have that kind of environment where you feel you can do that. And of course Louis is very understanding of that. He knows, and he knows why I'm maybe feeling like that, and he doesn't take it personally because he understands, and that's nice, because it means that I don't have to reassure anyone or explain my actions. I can just get on with it. Leading on from that, I do think another kind of big change from 2019 is just the fact that the environment is so different. I'm now training at King's, where it's this really motivating kind of everyone's there to work environment, and that's what I thrive on. At the same time, I still train on my own. 4 sessions a week, I'll be on my own training, and I love that. But being in that environment and just the kind of aura and the atmosphere at King's is wonderful. So yeah, I just wanted to take you guys through the big kind of differences for me in this prep regarding training, nutrition, mindset, because those things have majorly changed. I wanted to kind of touch on something a little bit different, personal growth. I feel like a different person to 2019 prep. I feel like this is almost my debut. This is my first year. I feel like I've learned so much from 2019, and like in this off season, so much has changed for me. I feel like I've grown up. I feel a lot more mature. I feel a lot more in control. I feel a lot more knowledgeable than I did then, and I'm genuinely just excited to grow within this sport. Now I've gone through an off season. I've not gone a day without thinking about stepping on stage, and I just think on a personal level, I'm just so ready for this year. I can't wait to make myself proud and my loved ones proud. Second round of cardio going down. So, just jumped off the stairs, 20-minute intervals done, 5-minute warm-up, and then 10 minutes of 30 seconds on. So put the speed up to, I think it's 14 on the stairs. So 30 seconds of that, and then bring it down to, I think it's stage 8 for 30 seconds, and just like that, off and on for 10 minutes, a 5-minute cool down. And I'll do that between my meal 4 and 5, and then meal 5, just a protein fat meal. I always feel really energized after doing my intervals though, even if they're hard. Like afterwards I just feel really good, so it's quite nice. I just wanted to leave this week's vlog here. I wanted to show you how it is that my second lot of cardio is set up. So that is episode number 3 all wrapped up, just off home and just in time for final meal, chill out and bed. See you guys in the next one.